World. Let's recap, man. Sometimes I like to wait a couple seconds. You know what I'm saying? That's how I always start you off with the what's going on world, and there it is for those here from the playback. But let's recap it, man. You know, Oklahoma City Thunder were playing at in Indianapolis. The city was Indianapolis, Indiana Pacers tonight, Wednesday night, Game 3 of the 2025 NBA Finals. A lot of league changes. It was different than before. First two games in Oklahoma commanding the lead pretty much majority of the game. You know what I'm saying? And game 2 was interesting because Indiana never got the lead. Game 1, it was at 0.3 seconds left on the clock. Tyrese Halliburton hits a quick dagger, you know what I'm saying, from the midi, and they win game 1. So we're thinking, in my mind, I'm thinking like, what's going to happen game 3? Let's figure this out. What's going to happen game 3? The game starts going right away, 4-0, 6-0. And then Siakam has to get on the boards. Siakam scores the first 6 points for Indiana in that first quarter. Obi Toppin and Mathurin were having some weird, questionable moments with their own handles and passes around, end of first and second quarter as well. End of first and middle of second quarter. But they started to get on track third quarter. It just seemed like the lead kept on, changing 4 to 6 points at a time. A couple of iffy calls on both ends, let's be honest. Then we start getting into the fourth. That's when it started turning up, man. That's when everything started changing. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I ain't got no stats on hand. I don't got no stats on hand, so I couldn't tell you. But I was hyped up, man. I was really hyped up. So let's say about 3 to 4 minutes left, 3.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Indiana pretty much has like a 2 or 4 point lead. And ever since then, all they did was just command it. They got it up to 8, kept shaving it down. Chet Holmgren gets blocked. Chet Holmgren gets blocked by fucking, what's my guy? Miles Turner. Miles Turner hits him with a block. He drives to the paint. They're in the post. Same thing. They lock him up. He's getting double, triple team down there. Bounces off of his arm. It's, the turnover. They just kept the momentum going, man. SGA getting forced to hit them field goals. You know what I'm saying? SGA forced to hit the field goals. He was getting some, he's trying to get a couple bumps here and there. Trying to draw some fouls. Draw some 3-point plays. Forced to make a couple twos. Nonetheless, it was going in. It was going in for him. He had about like 24, 25 by the end of the game. So SGA was cooking, man. You got to hand it to him too. But then my guy Jalen Williams was out there, man. Jalen Williams was hooping. Caitlin, what's going on? Caitlin says they're not moving to Wyoming, moving to Colorado. You're in a URV park. Okay. I appreciate you dropping in as always, Caitlin. Appreciate you dropping in. Hope you've been all right. We're doing an NBA recap right now, so I'm assuming you didn't watch it, but that's all right. I appreciate you being in the chat. We'll see if other people watch the game. Anyone else watch the game, I want to chop it up with them or any other fans. Spooter, what's going on, Spooter? Did you watch the game, bro? Let me know. Anybody who watched the game that's popping in right now, go ahead and tell me how you feel about it. If you felt there was some iffy plays, some iffy calls. I will say, when Nesmith did the windup on Caruso, I want to say that was actually a flagrant one. I don't know about flagrant 2, but it was a flagrant 1. I think, him like accidentally hitting him in the nuts on the way down, like that's an accident. But him winding up and intentionally trying to foul him on the way up when he's getting his Caruso's gonna get his layup or his dunk or whatever, that has to be a flagrant 1. That's just me. But the fact that they ruled against it, it doesn't really matter. But the thing was, Nesmith ended up fouling out anyway. He ended up getting in the next 2 possessions. I want to say Nesmith got his 6th foul, so he ended up fouling out the game anyway. But that's what's interesting. Do I like what, bro? What is that, bro? Rewrite that, man. Let me know what you're talking about. But yeah, that was one of the iffy calls right there. They had some weird stuff, kind of back to back. There's a couple of fouls on both ends of the court where I was a little bit like, it looks like they're just letting it ride. There's a couple of shoves, and then I saw Jalen Williams hit the like a slight headbutt on was it Nesmith or somebody else? Also SGA and was it Nembhard? Those two regarding each other, and that was getting rough right there. Like from first quarter till like damn near the end, those two were pretty much just shoving the shit out of each other the whole game. So that was really interesting and stuff. Do I like WWE? I'm not gonna say I like it, but my brother watches it, so sometimes I'm in the living room and I watch it with him. But yeah, I kind of know some stuff. Like I'm happy for R-Truth right now because R-Truth is finally getting his shine. You know, R-Truth is finally getting his chance to because he's always been playing this comedic character, like a comic relief kind of character, but now he's stepping into the real, you know, when he was on like what AEW or whatever, he was kind of what's it called? He was kind of like a more serious character. I don't know much about it, but I just saw like some of the like YouTube shorts. I've seen a couple of shorts about it. You know what I mean? But he seemed like a more serious character back then, and it feels like they're finally letting him step into the person that he wants to be now. So that's kind of cool. But who's your favorite wrestler then? Who do you got? I don't even know who's like still going, bro. I haven't really watched since like I'm trying to think of the last time I was watching. Probably like 2006 or something, 2005 or 2006. Are you saying of all time? Because Stone Cold is not he's not wrestling no more. Are you saying of all time? Stone Cold's a good wrestler, man. We used to have hell of his t-shirts, man. We used to have hell of his merch. My brother and one of his childhood friends, they used to go to the wrestling events when they used to be down at it was like Key Arena and like I forgot the name of the other place. CenturyLink. CenturyLink is what we called it. No, sorry, it's like, is it CenturyLink? Or it might have been Safeco Field. Because I think The Rock and Stone Cold, they had a was it WrestleMania? They had a match at Safeco Field, which is where the baseball team plays. So, and then that probably that was probably like one of the highest attended wrestling events in history was in Seattle because it was Stone Cold and The Rock, I believe. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. I'm in Seattle, bro. But that's where I think it was WrestleMania. It was either that or it was what is the other one? Not Royal Rumble, but SummerSlam or something like that. How's it going? So it was one of the two. I don't really remember. It was a lot of chalk. But yeah, it was one of the two. So I don't know. But are you asking me of all time? Because that's a different kind of question right there. I'm gonna sit over here. I'm trying to be out in the. Yeah, if you're saying of all time, I gotta think about that a little more, man. That's interesting. But yeah, hold on. Because you know, people might click on this for the playback, so we'll talk about just stay in the chat, bro. Just stay in the chat because we'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, man, I was really hyped when I got my drink. I got my drink and stuff. Like I said, I don't got no Indiana Pacers gear, but I do got the blue and yellow Mariners hat. So I was like, let me just wear that in honor of the Pacers. So shout out to the Pacers, man. You know, it was a crazy game, and we got to talk about TJ McConnell. TJ McConnell had 2 steals. I want to say they were both in the third quarter, right before the fourth had started. But TJ had what was it? And these were inbound steals. So on the inbound pass, he was jumping in and stealing twice. And people just thought he was just standing there just to stand there. They tried to throw above and over him and then to the right or whatever. He over there snatched it up like a cornerback, you know what I'm saying? A little quick dribble and just did a little layup in the paint, you know what I'm saying? Right off the little thing. So he was over there putting some work in, man. TJ McConnell got to get his you know what's crazy too is like one thing I recognized was in the fourth quarter. Who was it? There was like you know, Indiana Pacers had like 5 people out there, obviously, because you know it's 5-on-5. But I noticed I didn't realize it because Halliburton was out the whole time. He was resting for like 5 minutes, and then I realized when he checked in that what's his name checked in too. Miles Turner. They both had checked in. They were out the whole 5 minutes. So what I started to realize with the rotation was that SGA Caruso, Jalen Williams, and Chet Holmgren were all out there playing for about a good 2-3 minutes because start of the fourth, you know, SJ was out because Tyrese was out, and then they put him in because they're like, we need some scoring on the board or whatever. And it was kind of crazy because I realized SGA, Caruso, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren all on the floor at the same time. And then like when there's 7 minutes left on the clock, Tyrese and Miles finally check in. So the moment that they check in, what is it, like Neesmith was out there. So then that basically meant that Mathurin, Siakam, and McConnell were getting a rest, which is crazy. You know what I'm saying? That was crazy. So I was like, okay, it doesn't matter what ends up happening within these rotations in these last couple seconds and minutes. That rotation is all getting rest. Siakam was sitting there doing what he had to do. Again, Siakam like make sure that people score in the beginning. Like he's one of those players that doesn't need to warm up. He scores in the beginning a lot, bro. Like in the first First quarter, he's usually the guy getting the first couple buckets. You know what I'm saying? On average, I could be wrong. Every now and again, you got Miles Turner will shoot a three, top of the key or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like every now and again, you get something like that. Oh no, my bad. I gotta make sure I turn off Bluetooth and things like that. I don't got no headphones on me, but just in case I'm connected to something or accidentally connects or whatever, so I gotta turn off Bluetooth and Wi-Fi because I don't want to connect and like kind of muddy up my connection here and whatnot. You know, Spooter, man, don't start that shit right here, man. Don't get started with that stuff right here because everybody coming here with that chicken jockey bullshit. I get them straight out every time. So just let me know, man. We talking NBA right now, man. If you feel like you're not getting attention, go somewhere else with that shit, man. Don't come here with that bullshit. But yeah, we focus right here on this. So I'm trying to think. My prediction was like, okay, if they go back to Indiana, bro, they're getting at least 2 games. They got to get 2. You know what I'm saying? They got to get 2. It's gonna be like, okay, here's my thing. They took one in Oklahoma. If they go back home in Indiana in that atmosphere at home, I'm pretty sure they're gonna defend the court. I'm pretty sure they're gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? And then lo and behold, you seen what they did right here, Game 3. They held it down, man. And this was a different type of adjustment. There's no injured players. If anything, they might be fatigued a little bit. If anything, they might be a little damaged from previous games, putting in a little more effort here and there. Probably like sore. But what's interesting is these first 2 games, Game 1 and 2, the spacing was 3 days, and then between Game 2 and 3 is another 3 days. This next game coming up is going to be the first one. The spacing is 2 days, so we'll see how that fares with the pacing of all the players right now. Excuse me, there's like a little spider here. So my thing is like, okay, if this 3-day rest period, this 2.5 3-day rest period continues, and Indiana takes one from Oklahoma as well as take one at home, which obviously they won at home tonight. I think they're on track to win another one. For Game 4. Obviously, I think if Indiana takes Game 4, which I think they will, I think they're on a good momentum. Excuse me. If you watch closely the of like how things have been kind of shifting back and forth. Game 1, it was like they didn't have the lead at all the whole game, and then the last 0.3 seconds, they obviously took the lead and they won by 1. Game 2, they didn't have the lead at all, so it's kind of just like they were letting Oklahoma do their thing, run their little sprints or whatever, run their little plays. And then Game 3, it was more of a wrestling match in Indiana, so it's just like we're probably gonna have more of the same thing, and then them commanding the fourth. When it comes to fourth quarter, see, my thing with Oklahoma City is like all these guys are really good players, really skillful players, but when it comes down to when you watch Indiana play, like there's a different type of heart and like fight that Indiana has, bro. Obviously, there's a different chip on the shoulder where they're being doubted, and even Tyrese is getting tired of being being spoke about, saying that he's overrated and stuff. So he's shushing a lot of haters right now. He's making sure a lot of people are getting put in their place right now. So it's really interesting what we're seeing. But hey, man, I'm just hyped, bro, for this series. It's like a really dope finals, and like I'm kind of happy because Reggie, what's my guy? Reggie Miller was out there on the side just hanging out. He wasn't even commentating or nothing. I think his commentating stuff is more like TNT, but this is like ESPN and ABC or whatever. It's some technical stuff around that, like technical, what do you call this, contractual, whatever stuff. But to see Reggie Miller in the building, and then for him to watch the Pacers in the finals again at home in the final, like in Indianapolis, you know what I'm saying? Like it probably had to mean something for him, bro. So I'm just happy for him, man, because I'm trying to think, who did Reggie Miller run into? Either was it the Spurs or like Kobe or Shaq or something like that. It was one or the other. I don't remember exactly who we ran into, but yeah, nonetheless, man, it's been a good series so far. 3 games in, I can't, I'm hyped, bro. I'm just hyped for everything that's happening right now. Hold on. So yeah, there we go. So yeah, man. Here we go. I gotta think a little more about this, man. Caruso cutting through and making these plays. I want to say from quarters 2, 3, and 4, like the effort that he was putting in, man. But then like he was doing shit, and then like Oklahoma couldn't deliver. But the thing was they were getting fouled. So OKC getting to the line, making free throws, but towards the end they started missing like half of their free throws, so that started adding up. How much did they lose by? So about 7 or something, like 5 or 7 points or something like that. Those free throws add up, man. You know what I'm saying? But the same thing happened to Indiana in game 2, so both can be said. Um, it's interesting, man, because Caruso, like, he was making, like, he was cutting down. He would cut down the lane. He would jump in, and he would what do you call this? Hold on, real quick. He would he would cut down the lane real quick, and he wouldn't even make the layup or the dunk, if that makes sense. He would run down. He'd run down into the paint, the post, whatever. He'd be in there, snatch the ball up, and then he would just quickly dish it off to anyone that was running up or anyone that was like sitting in the corner. So he would sit there and hit, like, I'm not saying he was trying to get assists, but he was doing things the right way. He was doing the assists all the right way. Now, were the shots always getting knocked down? Not necessarily. Were the people that he was dishing the ball to getting fouled? That's what sent him to the line. But like I said, even the fatigue of all the hits and everything, because Indiana's a very physical team. A lot of players on the East will argue that, like, yeah, they're probably one of the most physical teams on the East. Um, but the other thing about it is they got used, like, think about the Eastern Finals. They got used to going against Brunson, who was damn near like I don't want to say he's a faster guard than SGA. He's probably not as smooth as SGA. Let's be honest. He's probably like he's faster. He might be faster actually. Now I think about it, but they're used to that foul baiting style, like a point guard sitting there like knows how to swipe at the right time, lean in at the right time, stop and go. You know what I'm saying? SGA is a different type of smoothness, but I think within 2-3 games they've adapted to his style enough. But we have yet to see, man. We have yet to see the momentum of what happens on Game 4. That's Friday. Like I said, it's in 2 days. We don't know yet. They're still in Indiana. They're still in Indianapolis specifically, but we'll see how that goes, bro. Um, I don't know if you can see the little birds over there. I don't know if you can see them, but yeah, bro. I'm hyped, bro. I'm telling you, with this series right here, I'm just doing a quick little recap, man. I was hoping more people drop in on me, but nonetheless, we're gonna sit there and do it right here. You know, I don't have no special graphics to get the numbers up or anything. Matter of fact, I might hit the funny green screen while we're at it. Let me just do the funny thing. Hold on. Let's see if this works, man. There you go. That shit goofy, but it might work. That shit goofy, but it might work because it got me looking like this. But yeah, we're over here recapping the sports, man. We really outside, but we got the green screen, so that might work. I might start doing this next time. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting around the live, but I also might actually just get the symbols, sit there and get the Pacer symbol and okay, see whoever wins. You know what I'm saying? Whoever ends up winning, I might just end up doing like that. But that's what happens when you don't have an exact screen, if that makes sense. But the Pacer symbol is above me a little bit, the yesers or whatever. I don't know why they're going for that, but it is kind of strange. But if anyone is wondering when they come in and out the live, I'm really outside, bro. I'm just doing this right here, which is kind of funny. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'll make sure. And my beard getting long. That's crazy. This is the length I needed at though. This is kind of where I was at. Well, I don't know. It might have been longer because I remember like when I would take off my shirts and stuff, I would have trouble because I'd accidentally pull on it. But it's starting to get there. You know what I mean? It's starting to get there. So it's just what it is. But it's also like this runs in my family. There was someone actually earlier today who was saying something. He's like, "You're Filipino, right?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I just never seen anyone like one of you guys grow the beard like that." I was like, "Yeah, I don't know. But it runs in my family. Like facial hair stuff, it just runs in the family, which is really interesting." But oh shoot, sorry, I'm over here about to drop the fucking camera angle. Hold on, there we go. So I got this right. But yeah, so I don't know, man. It's really interesting. I'll take it for what it is, bro. Like I'm hyped up, and like I said, I got no blue, but I had to just wear. That's the closest blue and yellow I got right now. Closest thing for blue and yellow I got is this right here. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna do it like that. You feel me? Sitting there talking about Pacers tonight, going up 2-1. Series is no longer tied. We're at 2-1 now. Indiana leads on this 2025 NBA Finals, bro. We'll see what ends up happening. Now, I'll be remiss if I didn't say it right. Again, I'm from Seattle, so it's like there's a little bit of like bitterness when we see Oklahoma City doing good at all, because it's like, oh, this is the team that we should have been drafting. These are the players that we could have had. Now, here's my argument: is that people don't realize, right? People don't realize like when we had the management, when we had the things going on, nobody was doing crazy moves anyway. Like we were kind of just like kind of stuck in limbo. Sometimes making the playoffs, sometimes barely making the cut. You know what I'm saying? Like we're a couple of games away, we just don't make the cut. It felt like the Mariners because the Mariners just never make the fucking playoff cut. So it felt like that for a while. What I'm saying is this: like Oklahoma City's management is different than ours. The same way that the franchise that exists right now over there is different than what the Seattle franchise is. Does that make sense? So they keep on saying stuff like, "Oh yeah, this is the same team that was the '79 Sonics, and they have that finals under the belt. That means they have 3 finals appearances under the belt." Not necessarily. I mean, on a technical level, yes, because the franchise has transferred over there, but out of respect for like the old Seattle, you know what I'm saying? From what 70? What is it? 72 or something like that? I think it was 70. Excuse me, 67, 1967 up to 96. Excuse me, 90. Yes, it would be 96 when they went to the finals against the Bulls. So from 67 to 96, it's hard to erase like a 30-year thing, you know what I'm saying? And then not even like, counting like what they left around 2000, what is this, 2008 or something like that. So that's like a 40-year run of just Seattle Supersonics history. They are who they are, you know what I'm saying? And that we have our history too. Now to separate those two, like sure, we can do that, we can say that, but like it's important. Blader Basti, what's going on? How you doing, man? Appreciate you dropping in, man. Let me know if you watched the game too. Let me know if you watched game 3 also, I should say, to be more specific. I got the little green screen funny joint up in the back, you know what I'm saying? I'm actually outside. You can't even tell because I got the green screen up, which is funny. But you can kind of tell on these, see these little edges right here? Yeah, it's a little funny right there. But anyway, we're just wrapping up. We're just kind of recapping the game, NBA game. I'm trying to do some sports stuff, some comedy stuff here and there where like I recap Kill Tony on Monday or Tuesday mornings after the Monday premieres. And then I try to, for NBA finals, I just want to talk about it and just speak on it a little bit as we go. You can probably hear traffic behind me. Like I said, I'm really outside. So like I said, Indiana Pacers versus OKC, aka Oklahoma City Thunder at Indiana Pacers for Game 3. Indiana Pacers won. For those wondering, for those trying to see what it's all about. But back to what I was saying. Most Seattleites and most people in Seattle will carry a bit of bitterness the way that I do. We're like, and then for me, I try to justify it, and it's almost kind of wrong. Where like I try to justify it and say, oh yeah, the Utah Jazz is cursed too because there ain't really no Jazz in Utah, and that the team and the franchise was taken from New Orleans, where that's the origination of Jazz. You know what I'm saying? I got all these bugs up on me, man. This is bad, but it is what it is over here. So that's my justification. Where it's like I think, and then also like it's messed up because you take one franchise from one city and bring it to another. If there was one franchise that should be taken away, but we don't have to take like their banners and like their jerseys and stuff like that, I would say Utah Jazz. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if Utah Jazz has Pistol Pete Maravich um, jersey retired in the rafters. I don't know. I don't know if that would make sense necessarily. You know what I mean? Like Pistol Pete didn't play in Utah. He didn't play in Salt Lake City. He played in New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, where Jazz originated from. Um, that's where he would have been. That's where he would have been playing. So my thing is like with Seattle, it's the same thing. But also Seattle is a jazzy city. Like a lot of people that migrated here from Louisiana brought jazz from down south. Quincy Jones came by way of Illinois, if not Chicago. You know what I'm saying? So all these different like musical, classical arts and whatnot, including jazz, was brought to Seattle. So my only justification is if they were to take a team, they should take Utah away, man, because they've been trashed for a long time. They were in the playoffs when they had who Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, but I think they're actually just going to do an NBA expansion. It is a little interesting that we do have a finals where, like they say, quote unquote, 2 small markets. I think last time we had that was probably Phoenix Suns and Milwaukee Bucks. But the interesting thing that I was telling people, I was like, people don't understand like when you're from like a major West Coast city or like a major, so like Seattle's kind of like a port city. It's port like the port down by the water and the airport and stuff. Excuse me, I got to sneeze. Hold on. Okay, never mind. I thought I had to sneeze, but I kind of fought it back. Because of that, like you kind of forget that like all the people that want to leave these major areas, they move to places in the Midwest or even Southwest, if that makes sense. Like when they talk about gentrification in cities like Seattle, New York, Los Angeles, the Bay Area, all that stuff, You also have people that are kind of like taking their money from, these tech areas and then kind of just migrating to like, all right, I'm going to kind of retire. I have my healthcare money or like my aviation money, tech money, whatever job is like booming in those specific cities and industries or whatever, right? Or whatever industries and jobs are booming in those places. They'll take that money and then they'll just kind of settle down or relocate to like places like Flagstaff and Phoenix, Arizona, as well as like Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and other parts of like Wisconsin. You know what I'm saying? So when they say stuff about like small markets like Oklahoma City and Indianapolis, it's like it's not really part of the conversation because you forget how many people around the whole nation migrate to OKC and then make that their new home, if that makes sense. So for a lot of people, OKC is their new home, and then they're over there. So the money is in the city, and it's also rotating throughout the stadiums. And you can imagine, you know, I used to work in healthcare, and like because we don't have a basketball team, like a professional men's basketball team, we have the Storm. Now the Storm would always give out tickets to like certain healthcare workers and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Because they were partnered with our specific hospital. But the same thing would be said for like Mariners games. So Mariners, so the thing is like with certain what do you call this? I'm forgetting my words right now. I, dude, there's no one here to really chat with me, so that kind of sucks. Not first responders, but like those jobs that like kind of took priority, if that makes sense. But like like firemen and healthcare workers and stuff like that, EMTs. So not first responders, but there's another word for it. But anyway, those kind of people would be always their industries would be offered tickets and tickets at a discount for certain games, so you could just kind of use or show your badge and stuff like that. So people forget that like the Pacers are up there because people are moving to parts of Indiana, if not Iowa. You know what I'm saying? Because I know some people that are moving like Iowa's one of them sought out places simply because it's cheap, and a lot of people don't want to live amongst like Midwest tornadoes and stuff. Oklahoma City, like I forget how close they are to like a tornado alley or like a dust bowl area. I forget exactly if they're close to that, but nonetheless, that's another area where like winds and certain kind of storms or whatever like would pass through too. Like I don't know if it's as obviously like in Seattle we have this overcast, this great overcast, constant rain, so that's a little different. Hold on, man, we got them rats up in here. Rats in the background kind of joint, man. That's how we living over here. I wonder if them birds gonna hunt them down or what. But yeah, I'm sitting in the park, bruh. Sitting in the park out here. Let me see if my spot's available. I'm gonna walk over though. Hold on. Let me get to it. Let's see. Let's see. I think we good money. If we good money, I'm shutting it down. You know what I mean? How's it going? I'm gonna shut it down. All right, yep. Yeah, that'll work for me. All right, here we go. Boom, nada. All right, here we go. I prefer this side because at least this way, I like have access to the bathroom, blow my nose. I got the sun or sunset in the background. It's still good lighting. But yeah, so anyway, I said that to say like, I'd be remiss to not bring up these factual things about my stance on OKC. But like I said, I don't want to hate on the actual players on the team. These players on the team are actually really talented. Like Jalen Williams is someone that like is a great two-way player. Excuse me, to the point where it's like, bro, his two-way game is like on some. He might be like the modern day Kawhi Leonard minus the hand size, if that makes sense. So Kawhi Leonard had like this hand that's like damn near the size of people's torsos. You know what I'm saying? Like just all fingers spread out. Like he's I don't know if it was Photoshop, but he pretty much palmed like one of the refs. Like he was kind of just pushing him to the not to the side, but just like holding them back or whatever. And his hand was damn near the size of his whole torso. Like it was just huge. Pause. But it's like you got to Jalen Williams is the same thing on both sides of the court, but he's still young and he has like more reps to get in, if that makes sense. So that's one of the players that I really like and respect on OKC. Obviously, SGA is a monster. When he really makes his field goals, it's undeniable. People can't say like he's a free throw merchant when he's really making his field goals, but a lot of times when he's trying to draw the foul and he doesn't, and he just goes for the shot and it doesn't go in, then you start thinking to yourself like, all right, on some 50-50 shit, 50% this, 50% that, he's accurate. When he's on, he's on, but when he's not, he's not. So he's not like the most accurate player, but he's a dog in his own right, and he's like really smooth, man. He plays the game correctly for a guard. You know what I'm saying? A scoring guard at that. Um, but Jalen Williams, man, that dude can score, man. He's also like big body in the paint when he needs to be. Dude's like 6'8", 6'9". You know what I'm saying? He's built like LeBron and he plays like Kawhi type shit. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? He's really like, but he's special, man. He's almost like Kawhi combined with KD. Like I might be gassing him up too much, but realistically, he's a really dope player. And like fucking everyone on that Thunder team can play defense, bro. But the difference is Pacers are just straight dogs. They're just straight dogs. They don't give up on the play. They don't get, they sit there, they crash on the ground, and they get right back up. Like, let's get it. We back at it. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of it probably comes down to the mentality of having someone like James Johnson on the bench, being literally the 12th man on the bench. You know what I'm saying? Like he's that deep on the bench, 10th, 12th man or whatever. He don't get minutes unless it's garbage time. And even then, it's like the garbage minutes, people be like 12, 11, 10, 9, and 8, like those people on the bench, because their rotation is deep over there. You know what I'm saying? They be deep. Omar Pena, what's going on? How you doing, man? Hey, man, I don't know what you mean by that. If you want some such shit, let me know so I can get you out of here. Otherwise, man, I appreciate you dropping in and chilling, man. But we recapping NBA Finals Game 3. You know what I'm saying? Let me know if you watched it tonight or if you watched it today. I'm just recapping that, man. Let me know if you want some such shit too, so I can get you out of this chat. I appreciate you dropping in, bro. Either way. All right. Yeah, get yourself out of here with that shit. But yeah, man, I've been surprised by obviously, like when you see, let's say, like you see Mathurin or Neesmith, on the fucking corner three type shit. And when you see him at the corner three, you know it's probably a go. You know it's going in type shit. You know what I'm saying? Even the people in the corner. I'm trying to think who would really post in the corner like that. But there was a couple shots that surprised me, man. I was surprised at the 3-point percentage for Indiana tonight. Like maybe it wasn't that great. I actually didn't look at the numbers, but they were making some buckets, bro. It was like some clutch like corner threes. Last minute pass, 4 minutes left on the clock. 4 seconds left on the clock type shit. And them shits was sinking. Like I'm talking about like swish. Like I'm talking about a swish over there, man. That makes sense. So I was actually really surprised. It kind of surprised me. OKC though, man, that's one team that on paper shouldn't be losing. But if we go down, this is where it's tricky because there's like different comparisons here. But I always felt, for me personally, some of my favorite. What's going on, Rob? What's going on, bro? My favorite franchises, like more so are on the East than they are the West. Surprisingly, like on the West, I really only like Seattle SuperSonics and then the Kings. But like I said, SuperSonics don't exist. The Kings are like, they're up and down. They're not even on the fucking playoffs this year. I don't even think. And then right now, the East was just loaded with like really good teams, man. How is it sunny? Actually, you know what? It's not really that sunny. Like here, let me get out the way. It's kind of like sunset, right? If I get out the way, it's like overcast sunset mixed with so like here's what I'm saying. You see the lighting right here, to the, god damn it, hold on. Right there is the park lighting, but then to the other side is actually like the little floodlights from the tennis court. So there's a tennis court behind me, so that's why it looks really bright behind me, and it actually works as a good backdrop, which is kind of funny. But Rob, I'll show you the other funny backdrop I was doing. I was doing this one right here, which is kind of funny, but I'm gonna take it out. It's dark as fuck right now. I wonder why that is. Also, on another note, it is dark as fuck with all them riots and whatnot. On another note, but hopefully you guys are being safe right now. I don't know if you know, they're starting to protest over here too, man. It's funny because literally on Saturday, I was chopping up with dude at the Beyblade event. And he's like, man, look at this. And he was showing me all the footage of Cali and New York. And I was like, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I don't really care. And then he was like, I think it's going to happen here next. And I was like, I feel like it'll be Houston, but maybe you're right. And then he was right. And they just started rallying and, protesting down there in the fucking downtown and shit. ICE and all them just, whatever, protesting. But yeah. Hey, Rob, did you watch the playoffs today? Did you watch, or excuse me, the finals? Did you watch game 3 of the finals, man? I'm just recapping a bit. I was kind of talking about the Pacers and whatnot. I was kind of just breaking it down a little bit. They got these little spiders and bugs running up in through here, so I'm over here paranoid. I feel like every time I feel something itchy, you know what I'm saying? But it was dope though. But I guess part of what I was trying to say was like, I'll give you guys an example. For anyone that drops in on the playback, anyone dropping in at all, Indiana had the best thing to prepare them. You know what I'm saying? They were on the East where they ran into Boston. Oh, excuse me, they didn't even run into Boston. They ran into Cleveland, and Cleveland was one of the most sound teams. And also defensively, they had DeAndre Hunter. Donovan Mitchell's a fucking dog, and then they have those 2 fucking centers, and Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. I'm trying to remember who the fuck else is over there, but they got a lot of great defenders. It's a lot of wings actually in Cleveland. It's a lot of wings, and them adding DeAndre Hunter, that was pretty much a steal that they got from my team, Atlanta Hawks. But adding DeAndre Hunter and then just shushing them motherfuckers for like what 5-6 games or whatever, that really prepared them on a defensive end. But then also the foul baiting and the fight from the New York Knicks, bro. because that was the team I was rooting for. Like I seen the motherfuckers live last year in the garden in Madison Square Garden, and to see that shit like play out, and I was like, Indiana's not playing, bro. They're not playing this year. That's why, like my brother's a Celtics fan, so when Indiana kept on saying, "Hey man, they swept us in the Eastern Conference Finals. Let me get that rematch." It's kind of interesting because I don't know, man. It's like, how do I explain this? The Celtics are almost like they almost kind of mirror OKC in some weird way, but it's almost like Indiana's more like the Celtics, if that makes sense. Because OKC will have Chet Holmgren and Hartenstein as their rotation of bigs, but also they can run Hartenstein as like a power forward when they needed when they're both on the floor, if that makes sense. So if they need size in the paint or they need size on the floor, like they do that. But then they also risk getting down to the bottom of the court in time. You know, it's like little shit like that. But the motherfuckers got long legs and shit, so they should be able to make it. It just don't work out that way sometimes. But Indiana's like, I'm trying to remember who they had in that's what I'm saying. The first round they had to deal with Milwaukee Bucks, even though they're a little, injured and whatnot. But they're still playing against Giannis. They're still playing against Dame before he goes down. You know what I'm saying? Dame Lillard goes down and stuff, and it's just like before he goes down, he was still hooping. But then they also had the funny thing about it was Kyle Kuzma probably spent the longest amount of time laying on the ground. Like he would get fouled, he would fall down in the paint or like on the fucking post, and he would just lay there for like 5-10 seconds, and he wouldn't even get up and go on defense. That's how fucking lazy and soft he was. So Indiana was just smoking them. It was like he wants to lay down in the backcourt. Fuck him. We're going to shoot this three. You know what I'm saying? Because now it's 5-on-4 because his stupid ass wants to lay down. So I think because Giannis saw that shit and Dame saw that shit, everybody's like, yo, we got to leave Milwaukee because this is some bullshit. They traded Chris Middleton for this motherfucker right here. This is fucking dumb. But anyway, Indiana smoked them. They got out of there. They still got Bobby Portis. That's what I'm saying. Like they still have Bobby Portis, but it just wasn't working out. What was I going to say? And they ran to Cleveland, which was crazy because I thought Cleveland would have smoked them, but Indiana wasn't playing, man. They put the motherfuckers out. They got rid of them real quick. Said, no, we're not doing this. And like my thing is, as a franchise, I'm actually more of a Cavaliers fan than a Pacers fan. I'm not even a Pacers fan in terms of being a fan of the franchise. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't gonna lie. After this year, I might be, bro. That's like a legendary. Because my thing is, when Detroit Pistons had what's his name, Ben Wallace and Rashid. Was it Ben Wallace and Rasheed Wallace and Rip Hamilton, Chauncey Billups, like that era of Detroit Pistons, like that shit made me a fan. Like I wasn't around for the 80s Bad Boys Pistons. I wasn't around for that shit. You know what I'm saying? But like literally watching the Wallaces and like Rip Hamilton, Chauncey Billups, and that whole rotation of Detroit Pistons shutting down Shaq and Kobe, like that made me a fan of the Pistons. Like, bro, these motherfuckers different. You know what I'm saying? So them, and then also like this new era of Cade Cunningham Pistons, because I actually seen those Pistons play live. I seen Cade Cunningham play live Madison Square Garden against the Knicks last year. So ever since then, I was like, yo, I'm really a fan of this dude. Like I always knew he was nice, but like seeing him live and then watching him hoop like this, that dude, like him battling Jalen Brunson last year was crazy. So I was like, yo, they put the league on notice. And then this year they really put the league on notice, going like what 5-6 games against New York. Even though it's like the first round they got out, but still, like they were putting on. So I gotta hand it to them. But that's what I'm saying. Like I'm not even a fan of like the Pacers franchise, bro. But after this year, I'm legit a fan. Like I like just seeing the fight that they're putting up right now, and then like like I said, I'll be listening to a lot of different podcasts and stuff, and I might have to. I actually skipped listening to Pat Bev and Roan today, but Pat Bev was saying this like last month. He was like, "What makes Indiana so tough?" And he was like, "Honestly, when I used to play on the Bucks, it was the fact that they were so physical. No matter where you are, these motherfuckers know how and when to throw some elbows. They just know how to get in the paint. They know how to take some hits and throw them. You know what I'm saying? They be in there with you, just like getting you start getting physical with them. They do the same thing. They even do it 2 times more type shit. So when Pat Bev broke that down, he was like, "That's why they win, because no matter what people throw at them, New York is showing all their heart and throwing like blows with them, in the paint, etc., just boxing out. You know what I'm saying? They stood there with him the whole time. They're over here in the paint, just put hands and quick little hand checking and whatnot, but just doing a rough or whatever pause. You know what I'm saying? They're doing it like that. They staying right there with him the whole time, and nobody's been injured. You think about like both of these teams, nobody's been injured. Indiana, like OKC, obviously they have a 10-man rotation, so it's like nobody's gonna be injured. But Indiana's been battling like Milwaukee, even though they weren't like all healthy. Cleveland was fucking healthy. New York was fucking healthy. You know what I'm saying? You could say, oh, they're a little hobbled. Sure, they're a little hobbled, but all teams are kind of hobbled moving into the fucking playoffs. And they battle through all that shit, and they're still healthy. Look at them, bro. They're still balling. So, but what's funny is like they're running into some kids. I don't want to say kid, you know, I'm trying to meet, you know, I'm trying to say like they're running into people who are like the only vet on that team for Oklahoma is probably Alex Caruso, and even Caruso is still kind of young, even though Caruso won a ring with LeBron James in the bubble. Like he was on a really solid team, and he's a really good fucking defender. Like the shit that he was doing on the Bulls, man, it's kind of sad the Bulls couldn't keep him, but at the same time, the Bulls wasn't doing shit. You know what I'm saying? That's why Levine left. That's why Levine and DeMar and I think Alonzo and Vucevic are the last people from that lineup, starting five. So I don't even know who else was there, bruh. I mean, like obviously Jimmy Butler left a long time ago. Who the fuck else was on the Bulls? There's so many people came and went. Ayo Dosunmu might still be there. He was a rookie one of these years and he was balling, but he's kind of made his thing. Oh, Kobe White. Kobe White is probably still on the Bulls. So there's a lot of good players still on the Bulls, like you know whatever. So we'll see what happens over there. Um, but they ain't doing shit. No motherfuckers ain't doing shit. And it's also crazy that New York fired Tibbs. But like I said, Indiana's like what they had to go through to get like here is crazy. I mean, you could say the same for OKC, but I don't know, man. Like the teams that I was rooting for. Obviously, I'm a Bucks fan as much as I'm a Hawks fan on the East. But you know, obviously they got through the Bucks. They were a little hampered. Cleveland was crazy. Like that, like them being number one in the East and them smacking them. You got to understand. This whole time, Indiana has had a disadvantage for home courts. They've had a home court disadvantage, not an advantage. That means that they were a seed below people that they're going against. The only people they had an advantage of was probably Milwaukee. That was it. And even then, it was like, okay, they get through Milwaukee. You got to do your first two games of the second round against Cleveland, and then you're in New York. First two games in New York, and then I think they stole one too, which is fucking crazy. So it's just like Indiana's not playing, bro. They're not playing, and then going against OKC, which is pretty much the best team of the whole fucking year. They have the first, they steal game one, and then they have home game advantage for the first two games, and then they get, you know, it's just crazy. So I'm rooting for them, man. Like they've had everything going against them, like this whole time, to some degree. You know, Milwaukee was kind of easy to go through, but you can never doubt Giannis. You can never doubt Giannis. You can even never doubt Dame if he's a little, you know, hobbled or whatever. He's like kind of halfway injured. I don't know if he fully got injured. Bobby Portis was still healthy. So all them people are still kind of healthy for the most part. Like key players. They just didn't have Chris Middleton no more. They replaced him with Kyle Kuzma, which is like what the fuck. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really proud, bro. I'm really happy for the Pacers, bro. OKC, I'm trying to remember who they had first round. OKC they had first round. It wasn't the Warriors. It would have been probably Memphis. So I want to say OKC battled against the Memphis Grizzlies. I believe that's correct. So that was like I don't remember if it was a sweep, but pretty sure like they fucked them up. They just got out of there. Second round, that was the roughest one. The second round against the Denver Nuggets, because you know Westbrook and Aaron Gordon, crazy. Like that them two as a combination was crazy, and they was playing hard. Matter of fact, they're the only team so far. I'm just saying right now, so far, that have forced them for 7 games in in the playoff runs. Because OKC, either they swept Memphis or it was like 5-1 or something. But the moment they ran into the Denver Nuggets, they forced Game 7, bro. They were forcing that in 7 games, which is crazy. And I was rooting for Denver. I was like, hey man, if Westbrook can get a ring with Denver, that'd be crazy. You know what I'm saying? But it didn't work out like that, which I'm still sad about. But it is what it is. And then, like I said, for Western Conference Finals, they ran into the Timberwolves, and you know the Timberwolves had a good track too. They got rid of the Warriors. They got the Warriors out of there. You know what I'm saying? And the Warriors were working at like half energy, half capacity, or like 75%. So sure, it's fair to say that, but they were battling. They were forcing games. You know what I'm saying? So they had to battle through the Warriors. Um, who was the second round? I'm trying to remember who Minnesota had in the second round. What they were dealing with. Oh, the Lakers. I think it was the Lakers, bro. It might have been the Lakers or something. So it was like Lakers and Warriors. Yeah. So first round was Lakers. First round was Lakers, and then the second round they got through the Warriors because the Warriors got rid of the Rockets, which is fucking hilarious. Um, yo, the Warriors getting rid of the Rockets is hilarious. Like that's like a tale as old as time. That goes back to like 2010 type shit, or it goes back to whenever James Harden went to the Rockets, which is like 20. It would have been after 2012, so let's say 2014, something like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, Minnesota, I was rooting for them, but then in hindsight, you're like, yeah, they didn't have enough to deal with Oklahoma, bro. It was like 5 games. They got him out of there in 5 games. It was kind of rough to watch, man. Because Ant-Man's one of my favorite players to watch. He's probably my favorite player to watch, like in more recent times, man. If I'm being honest, but it's kind of, you know, it is what it is, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's how it goes. So OKC had a pretty, because of the way the team is built, it's like I wasn't surprised that they showed up, but at the same time, I just didn't want them to show up because, like I said, as a Seattle fan, it's kind of bittersweet to like. I really like these players, man, like SGA and Jalen Williams. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, we love Alex Caruso, man. I call Alex Caruso the bald eagle because you know what I'm saying. For whatever reason, man, he just I don't know how. I think dudes like my age or younger, and he's balding. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Like, come on, man. But he's probably just stressed out because he's the only one out there playing fucking defense, man. He's the only one playing defense and doing some triangle offense shit. He's the only person that when they give him the ball, he knows how to dish it out to somebody who misses a fucking three or a layup. Like this dude, Caruso, is really out here hooping. So that's probably why he's stressed out. He's balding because these people don't know how to fucking play. And he got a ring. He's probably the only person on that team that got a ring. Who else is on the bench, bruh? Man, who the fuck is the coach? I don't know who that dude is. I ain't gonna lie. Like Dagnall or some shit. I don't even know his name. No offense. But it's interesting because, like, yeah. Now, even with that being said, the Carlisle. Hey, I say this on every fucking NBA Finals live, man. But we're gonna keep recapping this shit because we never know who's gonna jump in. Check this out. Rick Carlisle was it 76 or was like 80, either 76 or 80. I forget my years, but it's one of the years that the Celtics, Celtics got like 17, 18 championships, but Carlisle was there. Rick Carlisle was there for one of them. And then fast forward, he gets a little older, so it was either a head coach or an assistant coach, but he wins one with the Dallas Mavericks. So he's got 2 rings under his belt at minimum. Excuse me, fighting back a sneeze here, as both a player and a coach. So he's got it as a, yo, if I got to sneeze, I'm going to hit the mute button. I'm just letting y'all know. Because them allergies and that pollen is still present right here amongst all these trees. Ooh, excuse me. All right, so here we go. Rick Carlisle got at least 2 rings minimum under his belt, one as a player and one as a coaching staff kind of person, you know what I'm saying? But I'm pretty sure he was like a head coach for the Mavericks in, what year was that, 2011? When they beat Miami? I think they beat Miami, right? The Mavericks, I feel like, no, the Spurs, I think the Spurs swept Cleveland when LeBron was in Cleveland, you know what I'm saying? Lula Bell was going on. Welcome back, Lula Bell. I want to say the Spurs were the ones like Tim Duncan and fucking Ginobili. Ginobili and Parker, they were sweeping LeBron when he was in Cleveland. LeBron goes to Miami, and then his first year he runs into the Mavericks. That's what it was. He runs into the Mavericks, and that's like Jason Terry, Nowitzki. Excuse me, Jason Terry, Nowitzki. Who else was over there, bruh? Steve Nash did not get a ring, so it would have been Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd was there on the Mavericks. Um, Shit, who else was there? Shawn Marion was over there. Was Shawn Marion there? The Matrix? He might have been there too. So Rick Carlisle was coaching that team. Am I tripping? Am I right about that? So he was probably over there. And then, like I said, LeBron got his mind right. Boom, next 2 years, obviously that's the Miami Heat days. Sits there, battles it out. But he showed up 4 years in a row. You got to give LeBron his props. He showed up 4 years in a row. 4 or 5 years in a row. Because I think he was in Cleveland. Then he went to Miami. And so I'm trying to remember. Trying to do the math. I think the most consecutive times was like 8 or 9 years in a row. LeBron James showed up in the finals, which is fucking ridiculous. That's a crazy ass stat. But at the same time, you could say the same for Bill Russell. But the argument is the different years and decades and the competition that existed in those different years and decades. So we can say skill set and stuff. Bill Russell was probably like one of the tallest motherfuckers out there until he has to go against maybe like you could argue like a Oscar Robinson, and then maybe later on a Wilt Chamberlain or something like that. I want to say Oscar Robinson is towards the end of Bill Russell's run, because Oscar Robinson is Michael Jordan's GOAT. If for those that don't know, when they ask Michael Jordan who the GOAT is, he says he's always going to say Oscar Robinson. And it's funny because MJ valued the triple double king. This is before Westbrook, or excuse me, not the triple double, because like Westbrook is like the triple double king right now, like top of the list for most triple doubles. But before that was Oscar Robinson, the Big O. That's who Michael Jordan watched. One of the players Michael Jordan watched growing up, he said that was his GOAT, even though Michael Jordan is arguably to me, he's still the GOAT to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be honest. That's where I look at it. But that's not to put down LeBron. I think it's a very healthy conversation between them two. But you gotta throw Kobe in there. You gotta throw Kobe in that bitch too, man. You know what I'm saying? Arguably, I during the time period, I didn't really care for it. But arguably, Tim Duncan is kind of in that conversation. Kareem is obviously in that conversation. Like Tim Duncan's probably below all them people skill wise and like the way he plays, but you can't deny his presence and what he does on the court as a center. You can't deny a lot of centers. A lot of centers really be putting, when a center puts in work, bro, you got to give them motherfucker props. That's one thing we've been missing in more recent times. It's been a lot of guards that are scoring 25 plus type shit, and it's like, it's cool and then motherfuckers were having 35-point games, and then you lose. You know what I'm saying? So when the centers are really out there bodying people for like maximum 7 game series, and they're out there just throwing elbows and shouldering the shit out of motherfuckers and getting in the paint and dunking and shit, you gotta give the centers props, man. So that's my thing, and I'm saying that as a little dude. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. That's my perspective on it. Hold on, man. 1 second. All right, let me check this while it's at the 0. I always get these random email kind of reminder confirmation things, random stuff over here from different apps that I use and utilize and shit like that. But yeah, it's really interesting. So yeah, man, the matchup, like, and we've seen it now. Chet Holmgren with his weird form, you know what I'm saying? He's not really pulling from back here. He's kind of like lifting upwards forward. Like his arms are so strange. Like he doesn't really lift up and then kind of, maybe if he had like, maybe I don't know. I don't fucking play basketball. I ain't that good at it. But if his form, if he ever pulled like a Rick Barry type shit where he's just kind of doing a little tricep toss, a little medicine ball tricep toss kind of thing, maybe that, even Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's another guy that you can't really. Kevin Durant, Nowitzki, Larry Bird, Rick Barry, guys like that, where it's just like they have this weird form where you can't really block them. But Miles Turner blocking you twice, you know what I mean? Shutting you down twice, bruh. One from the 3, obviously he's gonna sit there, close out, smack the shit out you, and then another time in the paint, at least more than once in the paint. So, and Miles Turner is like 6'10", 6'10", 7 foot, something like that. But his low key though, his wingspan is crazy. He got crazy wingspan, and he got hops, and he can shoot threes. It's kind of crazy. He's kind of an underrated center, and bro. I've been watching him pause since like the Lance Stevenson days almost. No, I think, hold on, I could be wrong because I want to say Lance Stevenson, either he was there or they sent him to the Lakers. But I know Paul George was there. So, this is the Paul George Cup. People forget that the winner of this, I ain't trying to be funny, bro, but I am at the same time. This finals right here is the Paul George Cup, my guy. Because he was sitting there in Indiana for like, what, a couple years. He was suffering, dealing with, fucking LeBron running the East every fucking year, dog. And then he left. And then at some point, he ends up going to OKC. And then Dame sends him home with the fucking, the step back, 35-footer, whatever the hell. Dame sent him home. He's like, get the fuck out of here. Sent him home type shit. That shit was that was a crazy year, bro. I'm starting to have flashbacks to these crazy years, bro. The older I'm getting, I'm like, hold on. Within my lifetime, I've seen some crazy basketball, some good games. I ain't gonna lie. And that was one of them, man. Sent Paul George home. Motherfucker ends up going to the Clippers. Now he's over here in Philly. Like, he's a lot of people's goats, man, because fundamentally, there's nothing wrong with his game. That's what they said. There's hella podcasts, bro. There's hella basketball podcasts that exist. You can sit there and get the information from the actual people who played played it professionally in the league, and they'll tell you like, hey, what's Paul George's flaws here? And they'll be like, there's nothing. There's nothing. It's just why isn't he winning? Why doesn't he have a ring? I don't know. How far did we go? Do we blame it when he has a bad mental health kind of thing during one game? Because that happens to people. It's normal. You know what I'm saying? Some people kind of I won't say shut down, but whether they're shut down or not, people either shut down or they just have bad games or they're just missing. See, I'll give an example. Like, if you're from like the MJ and Kobe club, MJ, Kobe, and who's my other guy? I'm trying to think of. There's a lot of other guys that are really like, they just don't you can't shut them down. Like, mentally, you'll never shut these guys down. Like, they're always gonna try Westbrook is like that too. Or it's like you're never gonna shut them down. They're gonna try their hardest, all the time. But it's just like they just have off nights. But then there's guys like Paul George who just have to go through like a weird mental shutdown. They're not used to being in the bubble away from family, which is fair. You know what I'm saying? So that would have been the best chance with him and Kawhi in the bubble. That was like the best chance, but it's just like crazy. I don't know, man. It's just crazy. So anyway, all that being said, he was on both of those teams, and trades that were made during the time when he was there ended up also moving Sabonis away and then bringing Tyrese Halliburton from the Kings, which I forgot all about, and then all these other pieces moving around because at some point Malcolm Brogdon moved around, and he was like, I swear to God, there was one time Malcolm Brogdon was on the Bucks, and then he was on the Pacers. I don't know if he's in Portland right now. I don't know where the fuck Malcolm Brogdon is, but he's somewhere suffering right now because he's not on a good team, obviously. And then the same thing, OKC trading Paul George to the Clippers, getting all of these picks and stuff from the Clippers, and the Clippers haven't even fucking shown up in the finals. They've been in the Western Conference Finals, but they haven't been in the finals, which is hilarious to me. Cause I'm a Clippers fan too, low key. On the low, I'm a Clippers fan, but it's just like, bro, what y'all doing? Fuck, it's just sitting there suffering, and enjoying it. So I don't know. Good luck to them, man. But this is the Paul George Cup. This finals right here, 20, 2025, dog. That's the Paul George Cup, my guy. You gotta understand. Um, oh, real quick, my bad. Yeah, you gotta understand something. It's like OKC's been cooking this up for 2025 now. Past 10 years, they've been cooking this up. They had everybody come through the system, man. Like Westbrook was still there for a while. He was there for a little bit before he ended up going to Houston. When you think about it, before he ended up going to Houston, you know what I'm saying? Before he ended up in where the fuck was he at? DC or something? You know what I'm saying? He was in OKC. He was like the dedicated person that was there the longest before he ended up going to Houston for a little bit, pairing up with Harden. Didn't work out. I think where did he go next, bro? He ended up going to they were just shopping him around. You know what I'm saying? They just shopped him around to different teams. Like he was in so many different teams. He was over in DC for a little bit, suffering. I want to say he was in the Clippers. I want to say he went to the Lakers. He was just on a whole bunch of teams. He was in the Clippers. That was most recent, and then he went to Denver finally. So hopefully they give him a good home in Denver. But it's just like you hate to see a player like that get shopped around. But like I said, all this stuff kind of stemmed from that. Like OKC's been cooking this, like trading people around, getting picks from people, getting trading pieces, putting the right team together. They got a young core that's really strong. So it's like they knew what they were doing. And also back to what I was saying about the Seattle franchise. Seattle wasn't doing shit like that. They weren't trading picks in place for like, setting up you know what I'm saying? Like setting up picks for prospect plays and setting it up. They got Kevin Durant because they were what is it like the lot not the lottery. It's like a lottery, but also like having a team so low on the seeding, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like you just had these picks in the back of your pocket. It was like, you're this low in seeding and rank that you get Kevin Durant. You know what I mean? So that's how that all started, but it's just kind of crazy. So that's why it's interesting because that very first OKC finals run, a lot of that is like you think about it. Nick Collison was there when they had Rashard Lewis and Ray Allen. So like Nick Collison was there in like 07, 06 or something like that. 05, whatever years those were, because at some point Ray Allen ended up going to Boston and then he won, which would have been like 07, 08. But before they got rid of the team, yeah, it's like Nick Collison was there. Ray Allen, Rashard Lewis, Nick Collison, Damian Wilkins, Luke Rittenauer, all those players were there. And a lot of that core was kind of still there before, getting shopped around. Obviously, Rashard Lewis ended up, which I found out later on, because I didn't, I lost TV, I lost cable, I didn't have cable for a long time. Rashard Lewis ended up going to the Orlando Magic. Ray Allen we went to the Boston Celtics. That was the first big three before going to Miami. Luke Rittenauer, I don't know where he went. I don't know if someone told me he went to Charlotte or somewhere else. I forget exactly where Luke Rittenauer went. Nick Collison was still in OKC the whole time, so he ended up being Kevin Durant's vet. So it's pieces like that, and then everything that stuck around. Serge Ibaka stuck around before they traded him to like Toronto or some shit. Toronto, Milwaukee, where the fuck they end up sending him to, and then yeah, you had Westbrook who stuck around the longest, and then it was him and Steven Adams. Is that his name? So those two were like the vets for the longest, but everything that they acquired around them, because they weren't giving them the right proper help. And like SGA was, excuse me, I don't even think SGA was there yet. SGA was still on the Clippers. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was still on the Clippers, and that was part of the Paul George trade, which is crazy. That's fucking crazy. So you got to think the Kings also. You also have to think the Kings, because the Kings sent Tyrese Halliburton to Indiana for fucking Sabonis, and that hasn't worked out. No offense to Sabonis. Sabonis he's a good center, bro. He's actually a really good center, but it's just like it just hasn't worked out. They didn't even make the play-in tournament. I don't think. I don't even think the Kings were in the play-in tournament, bro. It's fucking yeah. But also we got to worry about Wemby, because Wemby has 1 year under his belt and he's training right now. This motherfucker in the weight room right now. He's about to look like the one of the fucking Monstars from what's that shit, Space Jam or whatever. Wemby's about to be crazy. He do like 7'7", wingspan like 9-10 feet. Like you don't even got to jump for the dunk, bro. You don't got to fucking dunk, like just to dunk the ball. Like Wemby doesn't even have to jump really. He be blocking people. His feet still on the ground. Shit crazy. Wembanyama, bro, what was he like 7'7", 7'9" or some shit? A fucking hella tall. He damn near 8 feet. This dude got a duck to walk under the you know what I'm saying? You go into a parking garage And you go inside like a normal parking garage, he just ducked down the whole time. You know what I'm saying? There's, 6'10" clearance type shit. That shit motherfucker be ducking a whole foot. Motherfucker ducking a whole foot. Pause, man, just in case. But yeah, that shit crazy. And but that's what we talking about, man. It's the Paul George Cup, bruh. It's crazy. SGA apparently, I'll leave you with this, man. That dude is locked in and he's focused, bruh. We got to give props where it's due. That dude, this is what I heard. This is from Patrick Beverly's podcast. It was Pat and Roan. They're talking about, because they live in LA, they will go out and party some nights. And then SGA, his rookie year, was like trying to go party with him. Like, nope, you can't get in the car with us. You stay home. You stay here. You save your money. It's your rookie year. He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, no, you don't go party with us. This is what we do. We've been in the league this long. We got our money. You save your money. You stay home. You stay focused and you train. Like, man, it's like, no, you don't go party with us. You don't get in this car. So I guess every night that they were like going to different towns or they'd be back home in LA, SJ is like, man, let me go party with you guys. Let me go kick with you guys. Like, nah, bro, you don't get in this car right now. You go stay focused. Now you see what happened. This dude stay focused in the clip throughout the Clippers era. They trade him to OKC. He keeps the focus, and he's been locked in the whole time, bro. He's leading this team, bro. Like, you gotta think about how skillful every person is on that team. Everyone from Lou Dort, a Canadian Olympian, to there's another Canadian. Well, I guess SGA is the Canadian Olympian on the team, but from fucking Lou Dort, Cason Wallace, Jalen Williams obviously is a beast. Chet Holmgren is a whole. He's gonna be a generational thing that we're not gonna see for a while. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole fucking rotation is crazy. Like the other Jalen Williams, like all those guys on that team, bro. Like it's just crazy. But he's literally leading it. You know what I'm saying? He's assisting when he needs to. He's standing at the right spot, rebounding when he needs to. He's kind of like taking notes from Curry. So it's just like, dude is locked in and focused, man. You got to give props to SGA. But yeah, man, OKC as a franchise and like the management, they've done right by their fan base and the players. Let's be honest. To make it this far, you gotta give it to them. That's why when people do the arguments for Seattle, I'm like, we gotta be honest as Seattle people and fans. Like we didn't do like the Seattle people in the office didn't do that. They didn't work that hard to make that happen. Also, it might just be some like weird conspiracy shit why the team is gone from the city, but at the same time, it's like, let's take the conspiracy out of it. If you look at the facts, the management that was there and the city of Seattle themselves basically sold the fucking team. They knew what they wanted to do. They knew they wanted to sell it. And it's like, what did the city need the money for really? You know what I'm saying? Because now you have no revenue from sports. And like whenever you go down to Portland or you go to Portland, Idaho, and other places that are surrounding the area, even people in like Hawaii and stuff, they're fans of Seattle sports. Literally 3.5 states are fans of Seattle sports. You go down to those places because they don't have a major city with a major league team. They are fans of like our team. They claim us, if that makes sense. That's the closest thing in proximity. Something that's 3 to 5 hours away. If you're in Idaho, you got to go through the Cascades and the Pass, right? That's like 8-hour drive, bro. You got to go through the fucking Cascades and shit. I don't even know what the fucking proper name is right now, but you got to go through that shit. It's a long drive just to get to Boise. You know what I'm saying? It's like 5 hours of Spokane and Eastern Washington. All these people claim Seattle sports. And he's like, you telling me that the fan base wouldn't have shown up for these teams? There's people in Eastern Washington, Idaho, Oregon. I'm like, bro, like they show up to baseball games. People in Montana, Wyoming type shit. Them motherfuckers show up to Mariners games, bro. Because it's the proximity of like, oh, they're right there. That's the proximity. If it ain't that, for them, it's the Royals or like the Cardinals. But on this end, it's, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what they root for. Or like they'll go for the Rockies or they'll go for because it's like mountain time zone type shit. That's different. But yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. So we kind of did it to ourselves as a franchise city, etc. We got to like Seattle fans. We will show up to the games because after losing a team, like you're dealing with that grief of losing a team. So like now you really want to be there and support every Seattle team. But like we got to learn from that and just show up to every game now. So as a fan, bro, we got to get our shit right. But I will say, man, props to the Oklahoma City Thunder, bro. Like that team and that franchise, they're doing great things over there, bro. You got to hand it to them. You got to hand it to them, bro. You got to give it to them, bro. All right, we out of here. But I went to check the time real quick. Yeah, it's close to like 10. It is what it is, man. I'm going to get home. I might get some of my gaming in myself. We'll see how I feel. Might get an hour or two in because I need to complete some gameplays myself, upload some files. You know what I mean? Just stay focused in the next coming days personally. But yeah, man, that's my little recap. I just wanted to kind of just talk basketball, NBA. You know, I was focusing on the game a little bit. Like I said, I ain't got no stats. I don't want to sit there and talk numbers all day, but we will just talk about the whole NBA scheme and all that stuff. So I appreciate everyone dropping in and out. You know, it's gonna go public. It's gonna show up. But yeah, man, love you guys. Appreciate y'all. Peace.